the light of the Lord. Now, I'm not going to make fun of any one particular religion, but the intention of this show is to give you a brief synopsis of 4 or 5 different ways in which certain religious beliefs and or the practice of certain philosophies make their followers believe that they have some sort of power. And some in fact do, and some in fact do not. I have to get this light right. The light of the Lord, the light of the Lord. So what we're going to do now, so I'm going to try to get this light just right so that, there we go, we're going to light on the fedora, which you know and I know, according to the famous blogger on YouTube, the fedora represents a scam. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually we're going to talk about scams. Actually, I think I have some natural light in here now. We're going to talk about scams. We're going to talk about people that lie. We're going to talk about how the people that lie cannot even come close to one semblance of truth in their, what I call, lie streams. So let us begin with the fact that there are many philosophies in this world, and each one of them, they all want you to believe that their philosophy and their religion and their way of communicating with the higher power is the only way possible. Well, let's move through that first little statement I made. There are more than, and we're just going to round these numbers out, there are more than Scott Del Fuego. Shout out to Pastor Fazio. Malu, morning Father Fazio. Welcome to the machine. Jack 1, session 1. We are really going to do a prayer session. We're going to do a prayer session and we're going to utilize 2 or 3 different methods of prayer. And I'll give you a brief synopsis from my understanding, from my training, and from the time I spent in not only in a Zen Buddhist monastery environment, but studying underneath a mystic master, 2, in fact, one named Norm Tolson, who worked with Oppenheimer at Los Alamos, the building of the atom bomb, and another one called Master Richard Darins. So these people are real people. Unlike what we have on YouTube, is we have a lot of fraud on YouTube. So we have channels, like a lot of people that may or may not come here today were just on Big Kevin's channel. Now that was a freak show. That, for sure, that was a freak show. However, there were about 30 people that I recognized as real people that you could get in touch with physically, if you wanted to, through either myself or Big E. Kevin won't necessarily hook you up with people, but there were about 30 real people on Kevin's show. So in fact, Kevin has a reality show, or people that are real. And there were real interactions between people. So Kevin's show, as much of a freak show as it was, would be at least borderline real. I mean, it was, the reality of it was real. That what went on the show was real. However, all you're doing is feeding the demon. That's all you're really doing, is feeding the demon. Big E and I had a conversation about this, in that the conversation that took place on Big Kevin's show was, it was funny, but it was also very demonic. Okay. And because the people that were involved in the conversation, they were just usurping the energy out of each other's souls. And all you're doing is feeding the demon. Now, Big Kevin was having the laugh of his life because Big Kevin was earning big time. And he deserves to earn big time because he has the platform to do that. So we're going to give Big Kevin a big shout out for bringing the spirits together. So Big E is sprinkling me with holy water. Shout out to Jesus Christ. And we're going to, Big E, blessings and inchi onichi achi to the entire Big E and I were talking about how much negativity was really in that room. And that's okay because it's on a level of consciousness which is known as YouTube. Now, if I wanted to do that right now, I could do that. That's not a problem for me. And not only could I do it, I could do it well. I could do it better than all of the people on Big Kevin's channel combined. Believe me, if I wanted to get into the negative aspect of what went on Big Kevin's show, if I spoke the truth, if I even decided to speak half the truth of what was really going on Big Kevin's show, you people would be astounded. If you were listening to what was going on Big Kevin's show, really listening from a spiritual point of view, you would see that there were probably demonic entities interacting with one another to some degree. You would see that. And Big E and I just had a conversation about that. So you would see that these people, you got trolls on Big Kevin's channel. They only come there to cause an altercation between the host and the person on the show. They only come there to post negative stuff. There's nothing positive about them. Now, the Canoy in the Philippines was on the Big E show last night. We're going to talk about spiritual people and people that still maintain focus. And everybody was getting off topic. And Canoy said, oh, we're kind of getting off topic, because he didn't allow the trolls to get inside his head. Now, I could have said what Canoy said, but I was just staying out of it. But to listen to the crap that was going on Big Kevin's show. Now, why did Big Kevin put that show on? He did not do it to be fair. Let's clear this up. Big Kevin doesn't care anymore about fairness between those people, in my opinion, than any of us care about fairness. Big Kevin wanted to put on a show, and he did put on a damn good show. But as far as Big Kevin being neutral, he's not neutral because it involved his girlfriend. But Big Kevin is an entertainer. He doesn't care about fairness. He actually doesn't care whose side wins. If you saw him on today's show, he was just enjoying himself. And if I wanted to put on a show like that, I'd be doing the same thing. So when Big Kevin comes on and says he cares, does he really care? I don't think so. Now, but Canoy in the Philippines, he did care. He wanted to get the facts out on the table. Big Kevin doesn't care about the facts. He's doing it for the entertainment value. So Canoy said, we're kind of losing track here. We're going to have a third show. Well, I had that scripted out in the notes, and I'm going, why am I bothering? If Big E is going to realize that we're going to need a third show, and he did a few minutes later. But what's really going on YouTube is that these people are being taken over by false personas, possibly demonic possession. If you listen to what went on Big Kevin's show this morning, you're going to see that there were people it was coming from a dark place, the things that were being said. If I wanted to do that now, I could, but I wouldn't, because it doesn't really bring you the kind of energy that I'm going to try to make you people aware of. So one thing I want to talk about today is there are different philosophies in this world, okay, and each one of them has something to offer the people of the world as far as power, and I do mean spiritual power, and as far as communicating with a higher spirit, and I do mean that's possible, and as far as lying and deception of the people, making the people dumb down to the point where they don't even know what spirituality is. False gods, false religion, bullshit. There is the biggest of all the cultures on this world, in this world, the biggest following of all the churches, of all the religions in this world, by far, is the Vatican. And they want you to know nothing about spirituality. They don't want you to know a damn thing about spirituality. They lead you down the wrong path every day of the week. Any enlightened being that I've ever met has come to the same conclusion about the Vatican. It's pure, it's on a level of evil that you can't even begin to imagine. Big E said last week that the Catholic Church per se is responsible, I think it was 69 million people dead, deaths of 69 million people. And that's just what we know of. All right, Pinoy, welcome to the machine. Good to see you too. So, Scott, I'll go to the comments for a minute and I'll get back to my notes. One of the parties in there is actually... All right, so Scott Del Fuego was making a commentary on one of the parties in there, not mentioning where, is actually, in Scott Del Fuego's opinion, demonic. You can literally feel them gain power from the sad or hopeless or negative feelings of others. And, okay, so who is Scott Del Fuego besides being a wordsmith? Scott Del Fuego was an educated man in this world who, when he said what he just said, he did not say that haphazardly. He said that with authority. And the authority that he said that with is his... And he has... I can't tell you what Scott does, but he has the authority to say what he just said. And understand what he said and mean what he said. Okay? I will never tell you what Scott Del Fuego does for a living. But I will tell you that what he just said, he has the authority to say it. He has the authority for people to listen to it. And he has the authority of his education. So when he says that, people are going to take that as... They're not going to take it as a possibility. They're going to say it. They're going to take it as fact. Okay. Now, how can I be sure of that? Well, because I know what Scott does. But he doesn't say it haphazardly. He means it. And that's what was going on there. There were people feeding off each other's negative energies to the point that if you could see auras or colors, or if those people were on the screen and you could see the color of the energy that surrounded their body at the time, it would be a weird experience to see. But if you just listen to it, and stopped reading the comments on that worthless commentary section that was going on. If you just listened to what was being said to each other, that in and of itself was demonic possession. That there was nothing that was going to benefit anybody in that debate. Now, you could go about it like that, and as a show on YouTube, it makes great, it makes great headlines, but it's not what you think. What was going on there is not what you think what was going on there. There were two forces fighting one another, and it was funny. There's no doubt about it, but it was also what just to give you Star Wars version, it was the dark side of reality. So I'm going to try to teach you a little bit about Christianity, the difference between Christianity and Catholicism. Then I'm going to talk about Zen Buddhist meditation. I'm going to talk about the Kabbalah, based on what the Jews believe in. And then I'm going to talk about Allah and the meditation or chanting that they do. And then I'm going to tell you the differences between those religions and philosophies and how they work. And then I will tell you about mountain fever. And then I will tell you about spiritual enlightenment. So, and I'm being serious. I'm going to explain some of these things as best I can. So let me go to the comments for a minute, and maybe I'll work my way backwards in this. So first of all, let me try to explain to you that to reach a higher plane of consciousness is possible. So to reach a higher plane of consciousness, what we call the Godhead, enlightenment, the Christ consciousness, the Buddha consciousness, or the power to become one with Allah. Is that possible? Inside your head and in reality, it is possible. And the ways that you go about it just differ. The one religion that does not want you to ever see the Godhead, in my opinion, is the Vatican and or Catholicism. That is like the least likely way that you will ever achieve cosmic consciousness or Christ consciousness, even though Christ is their figurehead. I mean, there is so many different levels of darkness in the Vatican. So what I'm basically saying is that the methods that they teach you to bring you to God, per se, Saint Anthony, Saint Paul, Saint Michael, Saint Luke, all that nonsense, they are teaching you exactly opposite of what the Bible taught about thou shalt not have false gods. The Virgin Mary, the statue of the Virgin Mary, the statue of Jesus Christ, the cross of Christ. The Catholic Church wants you to believe in every possible voodoo, let's just call it voodoo, that you could imagine. Biggie is probably here. What Biggie is here, Biggie will tell you that the last thing that you should pray to is a false god. Lyrish Israel caregiver, welcome to the machine. That he agrees totally that is one scary place also. So Scott, we're going to go. Chanoy says, this is why we come to the church, Pastor. We see such things. The things that were going on Big Kevin's show, they would... If Big Kevin reruns that show, you go back and listen to that, what was going on. And then you tell me who benefited from that. From a point of view from demonic or a possession of the soul, the only person that benefited that at all was the people that were drawing the circus show. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And I mean God. We have already. You guys started with the super chat too early. We're not done with the Catholic Church. Let me finish reading the comments. Scott Del Fuego. Big Kevin is an earner. He may be a scuba chat guy soon. That's Big Kevin is a capitalist, baby. He worked that disaster into a frenzy. I was enjoying the heck out of it, but because Big Kevin worked that like what they call the violin, like he played you like a violin. And if you were watching what he was doing on the show, he was working you into a frenzy. He's really good at that. He's the ultimate capitalist. I said that in the comments. So, taking this time to shout out my fellow brethren, says Jack Thompson. Welcome to the machine. Spiggy is saying hello to Scott Del Fuego. Scott's saying hello to John. John's saying hello to Scott. Hanoi says, this is why we come to the church, Pastor. We see such things. He's talking about the interplay of demonic or satanic spirits that was occurring on Big Kevin's channel. And I'm not even being facetious. I'm being serious. So, Biggie says, oh my goodness, I forgot to sprinkle the super chat holy wall on Scott Del Fuego. Not to worry, because what we have here, what I'm going to do is we're going to sing, we're going to do hymns, we're going to do the chant to Allah, we're going to sing a Zen Buddhist type of a energy building thing, and we're going to talk about mountain fever. Okay, they all bring you to the same place. Everything will bring you to a higher plane of consciousness to one degree or another. But I believe that the Vatican or Catholicism is the last possible venue to get in touch with your higher self. So people that don't agree with me, you should leave now, because I'm not even begun to talk about the Vatican and the nonsense. But I will in a minute. So let me go through some of the comments, and then I'm going to bang a pot. And I got to tell you, there's a new pot in town. We call it, look at the condition of this pot. This is the pot of the Church of Christians Plus. It's a pot that only an e-beggar could bang. But it's got a really nice sound to it. Listen to the sound. Of all the pots that I have, this has by far the most beautiful and melodic sound. Okay, so this is the pot of the Church of Scammers, I mean Christians Plus, and we're going to bang that pot in a minute. So we spoke about the Vatican, and I'll let me just give you a couple of reasons why the Vatican is, in my opinion, the least likely to bring you to a spiritual consciousness. Number one, the Vatican, Catholicism, never wanted the common man to understand the words of the Bible. They wanted to keep it in Latin, and they do the Mass in Latin, so you don't understand what it is that they're saying. So it's basically a false, you're worshiping something you have no idea. That is just, maybe that's just my point of view, but they don't want you to know. So let's say that someone moves from normal consciousness to spiritual consciousness, and you go talk to a priest about it. The priest is going to tell you that you're demon possessed. Because why? Because only a priest or a cardinal or a bishop or the Pope can communicate with the higher power known as God. So if a regular common man says that they have reached a state of enlightenment similar to that of Jesus, the church is going to condemn you as a demonic soul. I don't know why, but they do. And they've done it throughout all of history. That's why they had the witch hunt and the witches of Salem, the witch hunt. They killed tens of thousands of people for heresy and believing in witchcraft. None of them did. They just did things differently. And then they covered it up. And they're not doing anything different now in Africa. The last 100 years when they went in there and they killed all the witch doctors and the medicine men and all the tribes in Borneo and stuff like that. The Catholic Church just comes in and kills the master of whatever civilization they're moving in on and takes control of their religion and their monies that they devote. And you get a witch doctor that may or may not be spiritual, but a lot of medicine men and witch doctors are spiritual. The Catholic Church would go in and kill that guy and install a priest. So that would be the last. And then when you become enlightened, which is supposedly the goal of Catholicism, to get in touch with God, then the church will condemn you as being possessed by an evil spirit. There's sanctimonious hypocrites from the ground up. Now, let's read some comments, and then we'll go on to, let's say, let's talk about Allah next. Let's talk about Allah, because I kind of like the chant that they do to raise their level of consciousness. So Scott says the Vatican has too many secrets hidden away in dark catacombs to make me feel comfortable. The stuff they have down in the catacombs of the Vatican are artifacts and proofs that everything that they talk about is lies. How can I say this? The things that are probably in the catacombs of the Vatican, like that Scott Del Fuego was talking about, are artifacts that could be 100,000 years old or 1,000,000 years old, and from a civilization more advanced than what we have. Bones of the super big people, the giants. They know that the giants existed, but they wiped all memory of that out. They've wiped all memory of why all the mountains are stepped like a mining operation. They've wiped out every piece of history from before 6,000 years, saying God created everything in one day. That's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. God put bones in the ground from pterodactyls that are millions of years old, and he put all that's it. After that, 7. Does that 7 times. So God put bones in the ground. It's a gecko about this long, and I leave the door open for him. He comes in, he gets water, and then he goes back out. So God put the bones in the ground to test your belief. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit, and the Vatican knows this. I really should try to read some more of these comments. So Scott is right. Pinoy Ahoy says, I would be honored to have you stop by. Big E, to Big E. Canoy says, Scott, agreed totally. That's a scary place also. And we're going to be singing. Oh my God, this thing jumped. Pinoy Ahoy, a super chat from Pinoy Ahoy. Well, thank you, Pinoy Ahoy. So we will talk about Pinoy Ahoy's channel. Now, if you want a shout out, Pinoy Ahoy spends the most of his channel time showing your picture on the screen and shouting you out. And I went there 2 days ago. I don't really want to shout out. I don't really pay much attention for people shouting me out, because if everybody on YouTube shouted me out, YouTube is not going to give me more than half a percentage point of viewers on any one of my videos or live streams. I already have my niche in this world on YouTube. Doesn't matter what I do, I can't get more than 150 views on a video. Doesn't matter what I say. Every one of my videos should be viral, but YouTube already put me in their box. And this is the box that the Vatican and the other powers that be have put everybody on the flat plane of this flat plane into in the last 4 months. You think I'm kidding. The Vatican is as much responsible for you people being locked down as George Herbert Walker Bush or Donald Trump is right now, and Fauci and Johns Hopkins University. You know, if the Catholic Church said, look, we don't want to get locked down, that would be two or 3 billion people that would be against being locked down. They go, the evils in the Catholic Church don't stop. And that's why Google has suppressed my view counts. You believe what you want. The Vatican controls America. It controls the Bank of England, and it controls the world. Without the backing of the Vatican, there would be no lockdown. But the Vatican also is now in favor of mandatory pumping chemicals in children's arms. The Vatican wants to do away with the banking system. They want all this stuff. This was put into a documentary called Agenda 2021 in 1992. I suggest you Google that. Agenda 2021 and look at the PDF that was created in 1992. And every single facet, every single thing that's occurring today in real time with the governments and all the churches of the world, they all came together, really, all at one time for one cause that has no real merit to it. All of the politicians, Democrat, Republican, Socialist, whatever, all of them came together for just one common goal. Don't believe it. This is part of what is known as the NWO, and the Vatican controls it all. If it doesn't, it's right there in the top 3. So we'll move on. We're gonna look at some more comments that just happen to be rolling by. And Chico says, shout out, is in the house. Shout out. So Pinoy Ahoy would like Big E to stop by, and we have a major contribution from Pinoy Ahoy. So before I sing, and I'm going to bang the new pot, the e-beggar pot for the Church of Christians Plus. I want to say that someone just said that Pinoy Ahoy is the preeminent promoter of Philippines channels. Jack Thompson said that. So what I'd like you to do right now is, Pinoy, tell you what I'm going to do, Pinoy. If that's the case, and that's what our goal this week is, to move up the Lyrich Israel Caregivers channel, number 1, prayer for Darins' mother, number 2, which we're going to do in a minute, and the prayer for Warren H., which we're also going to do in a few minutes. What I'm going to do, Pinoy, is I'm going to give you a wrench, and I want you to post your favorite channels for the Philippines bloggers. Because if that's what you do, then you have more power and you're able to help more people build up their channel, the Philippines channels. Because Big E and I decided that this week we were just going to work on Lyrich Israel Caregivers channel. So Lyrich, and there she is right there, right down on the bottom, right below the super chat itself. So let's give a shout out to Lyrich Israel Caregiver, who's working in Israel. I didn't know she was I think she's a hospital care or care for the elderly. Very admirable position in life, and a very giving position in life, because each time you go in and help somebody that's sick or dying, it takes a little bit of your soul away from you. It does. It really does. It's like Darwin, Darin is, each time he sees his mother in bed or in whatever position she's in, it takes a little bit of his heart from his soul. So let's give Lyrish, who does this not voluntarily, but for a job, in one of the hardest jobs in the world to do, to go and help people that are sick and or dying. Let's give Lyrish Israel Caregiver a big shout out. And we're going to do that by saying a little bit of a Zen Buddhist, I'll give you a little bit of a Zen Buddhist chant, which brings energy into your soul, as opposed to this Catholic nonsense, where let's pray to the Virgin Mother Mary, or pray to the statue of Jesus. So this is for Lyrish from Pinoy Ahoy. Let's say we're gonna do a little ah-o-m. So for Lyrish, Israel Caregiver, we're gonna just bring a little bit of energy, and if you can, at the same time, while you're doing the ah-o-m, those of you who are gonna follow me, I'm gonna ring the bell, the church bell. This is the e-beggar version of the church bell of Christians Plus. I want you to focus on the color pink. So I'll just stand up like this, and you try to focus on the color pink itself while we're doing this meditation. Ready? We're going to do this for about 2 minutes. So I just want you to listen to the bell and think about the color pink. And that color pink, in reality, represents love. And you can send that love to Warren H. You can send it to a family member, or you could send it to Darin's mom, okay, who's in the hospital, and she has the virus. So just for 2 minutes, you just listen to this bell, and I'll give you an idea what a Tibetan Buddhist or Zen meditation chant is. But focus on the color pink and think about somebody that you love. Could be anybody, doesn't have to be anybody I mentioned, but just focus on the pink, listen to the sound, and send a person love. This would be an Eastern Tibetan or Zen Buddhist or Taoist type of chant. Okay, and then we're gonna do 2 more different ones where you chanting Allah, and then I'll tell you the difference between chanting Allah, and then we're going to talk about mountain fever. So this would be the equivalent of a Zen Buddhist chant. If you were in a monastery, somebody would be banging a bell. Could be anybody. So let's do that for 2 minutes. So it's 9:53. At 9:55 we'll stop. Ready? Ah-o-m. 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 Now, if you did this at home, if you had a pot or a bell, what you would notice is your lips would be vibrating. You would also notice you'd feel energy moving through your body. And you'd feel inside your chest cavity, you'd feel a vibratory response from the bell. Those are the outward physical attributes to banging a bell in a Zen Buddhist monastery. In the background of a Zen Buddhist monastery, or what is called a zendo, if you're fighting, you're always going to hear the same melodic bell music in the background. That is to train your mind to not to focus on the bell, but to see the bell, to hear the bell, to experience the bell, and to relieve your mind of all other extraneous thoughts, which brings you to what is called the emptying of the mind, where when I just did that, I had no thought whatsoever about anything that was going on around me, other than I was listening to the bell. And I don't know how long I did it for, but I'm pretty sure I did it for at least 2 minutes, because that's what I set my schedule for inside my head. When you just focus on the bell, you relieve your mind of extraneous thoughts. And that allows the potential of a spirit or godlike energy to enter into your, what is called your soul, or your chakra points of your body. Now, I know that there are going to be people that don't believe this, and that's okay, because I was trained in this understanding since I was a very young boy. I knew that there were spiritual worlds out there after I had gotten stabbed and died. I knew there was a higher power that you could get in touch with. And then eventually I studied under the masters that I just mentioned, Norm Tolson and Master Richard H. Darins, who's on YouTube. He only trains top professional athletes and movie stars and billionaires and millionaires. That's all he does now. I was his first student. So you could believe what you want if you can go to his channel, and he has some sensei, he has a Spanish sensei that now took over the art of Sensoaki Jitsu. You can ask that sensei, who didn't train with me, but Master Richard Darins said I was one of his more interesting students. So he actually remembered me 25 years after I left his class. He still talked about me to the person who took over his art. So I left a lasting impression on him, as well as him on me, because the ultimate goal of Master Richard H. Darins was to teach people to move from normal consciousness to a higher plane of consciousness through meditation and calligraphy and musical instruments, or whatever his training process was. Each person took an art, let's say. Each person took an art. So of all the people that Master Richard Darins trained for the first, during the time I was with him, I was the only one that ever reached cosmic consciousness in his class. And he proved that in the most bizarre method. But he himself lived in that state of consciousness. I mean, the man, and I know this sounds strange, but the man could tell you to attack me, not me, but him, and he would say, I want you to attack me, I want you to kick me or punch me or whatever attack. And he would just stand there, and just like in the movies, when you ran at him, because, you know, you'd be 8 or 10 feet away, when you ran at him, he would just go like this with his hand. And he would pick you up off the floor and throw you. Depending on whether or not he liked you, he'd let you roll out or he'd drop you down on your chest or your back. He had even that much control over the force of what he called chi. So this is real. So it's not only just real, it's real to a lot of people. To the people that are going to make fun of it, well, go ahead and make fun of it. Typically, the people that make the most fun of what I just showed you are lowbrow, low IQ, and or even some might even be possessed by demonic forces. And then they are trying to usurp the energy from you people by making fun of me. So by making fun of me, they draw energy from your soul. I'm not being facetious. I'm explaining to you how energy vampires work. So that is from Pinoy Ahoy for his super chat. And now we will take off the scam, the hat of the scam. This will be we'll probably sell these at the door of the Church of Christians Plus. I mean, when you come in, life's just one big scam, you know that. So, thank you very much, Pinoy Ahoy. So you're going to remain a wrench, Pinoy Ahoy, because I like what you did with your channel by giving the people of the Philippines a shout out. So you just keep posting their links. That will give you the opportunity. Now, I also, if Expat Prep is here, I have to get him back his wrench if I haven't given that back already, because Expat Prepper has things to say as well. So let me move through here. So the channel that we're most promoting this week is Lyrish Israel Caregiver. I think Big E said she had 500 subscribers. We want to try to get Lyrish Israel Caregiver up to 1,000 subscribers so she can start earning money on Super Chat. Now, what is her channel about? Well, I got to tell you, she does one or two very interesting things that you could just watch her do and enjoy. She jumps rope and she does this weighted hula hoop thing, which she does well. And what I noticed last night, she was sitting next to a window this morning, about 3 o'clock this morning, my time. She's always smiling. She's always smiling. She never stops smiling. If she's not smiling, she's laughing. So she is a really, truly happy person. So let's give Lyrish Israel Caregiver a big shout out. And then I'm going to move down through the comments. Jack Thompson says, rainbows started already from Pinoy Ahoy. They did. And wait, just wait. Cess, I am Cess. Prayers for Darins' mom. Okay, you know what? Let's do a prayer for Darins' mom while we have some people watching. So I'm gonna tell you how I'm gonna pray. Okay, I'm gonna actually hit the beggar bell, the beggar bell, and I'm gonna do a chant. And I'm going to chant Ah-O-M like I did, because that is the way that I moved from regular consciousness to cosmic consciousness. I'm going to do the beggar bell, and I'm going to hit it with the ultimate spatula, and I'm going to do an Ah-O-M. And as I do that chant, I'm going to direct the energy to the face of Darin. D-A-R-I-N, Darin. I'm going to direct the energy to the face of Darin so that he can send that to his mom. Okay. Now, I'm not joking around about this. And the energy is going to be in the form of pink light. So that's going to be my prayer. That's the way I'll do it. And then if you have your own way, I want you to do it your way, even if it's just to focus on what we call the concept of love, which could be rosy red, or because roses represent love, or you could pray to Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or anybody else you want, but direct the prayer of healing, which is pink. I will tell you that in the universal consciousness, pink is the color of healing. I want you to direct that color pink to Darin, because we don't know what his mom looks like. And we'll give it to him, if for no other reason than to give him strength to give to his mom. But I want to try something, one more thing I want to try. I want to try to get something different besides my hand to put in the pot. I want to try to get a piece of wood. I want to see how the vibration works. I was thinking about this morning. And it could be glass and it could be wood. So I'm going to try two different ways, because this if I told you I had a bell in my hand that was 14 inches in diameter and I could barely pick it up, and somebody stole it. I gave it to somebody to hold on to, and a few hours later, the next day, I went back and he said, "Whoa, somebody stole it." Well, Tommy Lins was the person that stole it. He was the guy I gave it to. And I had a bell bigger than this, much bigger than this. And I wish I would have had that bell. I found the bell, and I gave it to somebody to hold on to, because I couldn't carry it home. I was going to have to get my dad to help me bring it to the car. And we have already the super chat, the love and the super chat from the wordsmith, Scott Del Fuego. Super chat, all your money scam. This is the scam bell. This is the bell that we're going to put in front of the church. The scam. This is the scammer bell. This is the bell we're going to put in front of the church. Britt, engineer in the Philippines. Hello, Michael. Looking good, my friend. Two Bears. Hi, Chi. Scott. Okay, wow, we have a lot of comments here. I have talked. Okay, Big E says, I have talked how many times to Pinoy Ahoy, and I always thought I had signed up to his channel, but I didn't. I'm sorry about this. None of us should assume we are subscribers. No, YouTube keeps unsubscribing us from certain people. So this is with the wood in the bell for the prayer, with the power. We'll just call it an energy prayer for Darin, that we're going to send to Darin and his mother via Darin. Okay, so I want to try this with the wood, and if I like it, I'll go on with it, and if not, I'm going to try a bottle. Not crazy about that. It's different, but this was a little piece of wood I had. I'm going to try a glass bottle. I think the glass is going to work the best. It's got the least amount of resistance. Oh yeah, that's much better. Okay, so you guys focus on the bell while you're doing your prayer, and I will do the A-U-M, and you focus on the color pink. You think it's easy to focus on the color pink. What you really are, the goal is to think of the color pink with your eyes closed and empty your mind of anything other than sending the color pink to Darin. I know you think I'm crazy, but I'm not being facetious. I'm not making a joke. I'm laughing because if I told you how long it would take you to actually see the color pink, feel the energy coming in through your feet, moving up through your chakra points and out through your dome of your head, and send that energy to Darin, and watch the energy leave the top of your head and go to Darin. If I told you how long that would take, it could take a week, but it'd probably take more like a few years to do that. But it's possible to do that. That's the point. Big E and I were talking about that just this morning before the show started. So you're going to listen to the bell, you're going to think of the color pink, and you're going to send your vibration of love. Flower, the rose, or pink, the color, or just pray to Jesus or Allah or Buddha or anybody that gives you power and send it to Darren. And it can't hurt, but it actually will help, even though you won't know it. And it may not change things much, but even if it only gives Darren power to accept what's happening, that's the intention of that's the objective, to just help send some energy to Darren. I know it sounds crazy to some people. Some people are just mean, malicious, and sadistic, and they're going to make fun of this whole process. But in the end, those people have probably... Bob Dylan sold his soul to the devil. He made no bones about it. Early on in life, he did that for fame and success, and at the end of his life, he regretted it. There are people that have the potential or have done that. So this is the exact opposite. To send love is the exact opposite of selling your soul and the dark side of the universe. So let's try this. I'm going to try one more thing. I'm going to try a bigger bottle. Nope, that ain't it. You know what? Here we go. Here we go. Ready? Okay, so focus on Darren's face, who did one of the toughest jobs imaginable in life. He was a prison guard in a nut house. This guy has strength inside his head, but we're just going to send him a little love. So this is for Darren's mom. Ready? O-M. Now, let let me try to explain to you what that would look like if you were able to do it. I cannot at this time, but at one time I could do it as I described to do it. While this would be from a mystic point of view, a spiritual master, what this would look like if you could see it, or if you ever achieved this level of consciousness. What you would see is, first of all, you would see the energy entering into the bottoms of the soles of the feet. You would watch them. Whoa. Whoa, that was a big one. That was a big one. That was a big one. I don't want to tell you what that was, but that was a big one. That was a killer. That was a big one. Shook the whole house. I'm not kidding you. One of those bad boys occurred about 6 months ago. Almost took out the house next door. So, what you would see is the energy coming up through the earth, through the soles of the feet, and then through the body. And you'd see the chakra points throughout the body. And then you would see it moving up. You could literally see this. And then coming out of the mystical master's head, if you had the ability to see chi or power, you would see a torrent, as Biggie used that word yesterday, a torrent of energy in the color pink. And it would be released from the dome of the head, the part where Biggie has been accused of being bald. That area in the back here, it would be released upwards, and then it would head, it wouldn't matter where Darren or his mom is. The energy would know where to go, and the energy would come out of the top of your head and go to Darren. I'm not lying about this. I'm telling you what you see the movies of things like this happening. The movie is not being facetious or making this stuff up. The movie is giving you what it really looks like. But I'm trying to tell you that that's real. It's not just Hollywood stuff. So you'd see this energy come out of your head or whoever's head was doing this meditation, and it would go directly to Darren and his mom. I know it sounds crazy. A lot of stuff I talk about sounds crazy, but these concepts that you don't understand are real. The same way I'm talking about this energy being real. On Big Kevin's show, those were the forces of darkness. I am talking about dark, empty places inside soulless individuals where their souls have been taken over by things that you know not about. It's possible. It's not only possible, it's probable. Those were some dark places those two people were in. You think I'm kidding you, but I'm not kidding you. If you were to try to change their mind or teach them anything different, one probably has a lot more potential than the other, and the other one is a lost cause. That's gone. That's gone. That is a Bob Dylan of YouTube, my friends. Just remember that. That is the Bob Dylan of YouTube. So, rainbows already start. Well, I have about 2,000 comments. So, I am Sess. Now, I am Sess. Welcome to the machine. Good morning, everyone. We are Lyrish is. We have things to talk about. Kevin Cromwell, welcome to the machine. I saw your message on Skype. Thank you. I don't do. Very few people do I talk with on Skype, Kevin. Even though you're a member of my Skype, I have now several hundred people. I can only just talk to a select few, and unfortunately, my time is taken up with a few other things that I'm doing. I have other projects, but thanks for stopping by, Kevin, and thanks for saying hello. Scott is saying hello to Lyris. Lyris is saying hello to Scott. Okay, Jack Thompson is saying hello to I am Sess and vice versa. Scott to Sess and vice versa. John Escape. Okay, good night. Well, that's an hour ago. John Escape, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. John Escape. See you later. I am Sess Royal Sissy Sexy. Good morning. Now that lady, Rain Ruel, she had every right to be as upset as she did. Don't make a mistake about it. I don't think Rain should be not upset. And what she said, listen, where that guy Shardy went with the title of that video, there's no way you could justify that. I couldn't. If I had to defend that, I couldn't do it. So now, how he got to that point? Well, he wasn't allowed. Either StreamYards wouldn't let him on the show, or he said he couldn't get on. Now, StreamYards won't let me on the show, but neither will any live stream from YouTube. I don't know if it's something with my browser or not, but it says I have to change browsers. I don't know what his message meant, but Rain Ruel, she has every right to be, no matter what she did. Listen, it doesn't matter what she did. You can't justify what that guy Shardy, whatever his name is, did. There's no way you're going to justify that. Okay, if he did it using different words, this woman Rain, she's not telling you the truth, and he put out a video and put a little comedy in it, probably would have went a lot further with a lot less problems than he did. But some people are saying he's a social misfit. I don't know the guy. Some people are saying he's an alcoholic. I don't know the guy. Some people are saying he's just an angry person. I don't know nothing about that guy. I never talked to him. I never watched him. I don't know anything about him. And before 2 days ago, he was an obscurity in my mind. I had no idea who he was. I remember the name, but now that he posted that, that's going to be the thing that people are going to remember forever. Never going to drop that turd that he dropped. It's always going to stick to him like right on rice. So Rain, I want to give you a shout out for being upset like you are, and I will agree with your anger. I will agree with that. I see nothing wrong with you saying. Now, how you got there, Big E said it. I thought about it before Big E said it. Everybody thinks about it. However you got there with that man to make him that mad at you, part of that is your fault. You should have not. There are 1,000 people that have watched my videos in the last month. Actually, 30,000 people this month have watched some of my videos. I mean, it could be one video here, one video there, but nobody ever came on saying the title of that video is really, is anything compared to what that guy made the video. So, I mean, there are certain parameters that even I have not broken. Everybody else feels comfortable with breaking those parameters because they hide their face behind a keyboard. They hide behind the keyboard. Some people feel comfortable. I don't know that he put his face in the video. I didn't watch it. All I saw was the title. Biggie played it, but I wasn't actually watching the computer, so I don't know if his face is in there. But maybe he was man enough to show his face, which probably is, wasn't a good thing. But, there are some people that just feel that they could say anything they want on YouTube and get away with it, and they made a mistake. Those people, that man, Shardy, whatever his name is, McSoda, whatever, he made a mistake by posting that video with that title in it. Other people make lots of mistakes as well. Now, Can you do anything about it? Probably not. I mean, but you being pissed off about it, I would have been pissed off about it. And so I give you a lot of credit for sticking up. But somehow or another, the possibility lurks in the back of people's minds that you led this guy on or just didn't tell him right from the get-go. Private conversations with women and men on Facebook, when you're in, I learned what LDR means, it should have never happened. I mean, I was with Daisy for 3.5 years. To my knowledge, Daisy didn't have private conversations behind my back. Did I ever go to her Facebook page to check? Nope. I trusted her. So if she did, I don't know about it. I never heard about it. And I don't even want to know about it, because even I was with Daisy for 3.5 years. Now that we're not together, in no way, shape, or form, there's no possibility on earth. There's no amount of money, no amount of anything that Daisy, if in her wildest dreams she made up stories about me, there is nothing on earth that would make me, nothing. There is nothing on earth that would make me put a video with that in the title about Daisy. I would just say, she can say what she wants. It's not true. Or it might even be true. But she could say what she wants. I'm not going to give it any energy. She's not going to allow that to affect me at all. But she wouldn't, and she never did. And to this day, it's almost 9 months later, nobody has ever said that Daisy said something about me or vice versa. The only thing that you hear on YouTube, you hear a couple of asswipes that talk shit about Daisy and her new boyfriend, or myself lacking a girlfriend. Well, those are worthless human beings. They have no worth at all in the grand scheme of things. If their desire is to go around spreading hate speech, lies, half-truths, and nonsense, well, I can't stop that. But Daisy wouldn't do it, and I would never do it. So I can agree with you of it not happening. But I would agree that you should not have spoken with that guy behind his back. So there's nothing in the world, short story, that would make me say something like that on YouTube. Nothing. In fact, I've never spoken a bad word about anybody's wife or girlfriend or children, ever. Not once, ever in all of YouTube history. There's no video of me speaking evil of a man's wife by name, children by name, or girlfriend by name. Nothing. Zero. Doesn't exist. And the fact that I know better because I've been on YouTube for 10 years has nothing to do with whether or not and or why I didn't do it. I wouldn't do it because it's simply wrong. What that guy did was wrong. What you complained about him doing and telling him to take his apology and stick it where the sun doesn't shine, I agree with you. But something happened for him to get that pissed off. And had you not spoken with that man privately, ever, not even one time, this wouldn't have happened. So it's a learning curve and a lesson for everybody out there. We had this conversation on Big E's channel 2 weeks ago. Tannoy was asked if his girlfriend went on social media and talked to another man behind the scenes, would he be upset? He'd be about as pissed off about it as I would, which is, it would only just happen one time. And then if I was with a woman and she was communicating with another man behind my back, it would probably upset me to some small degree, but I don't really take all of that stuff so serious. I mean, I would just say to her, here's what, needs to be done. What you really need to do is, how can I, Michael Fazio, how can I make your relationship between you and this man, how can we make it bond? And I'll help you move on to your next experience in life. But getting mad about it, no, wouldn't do that. If I could help, I'd be like the government. I'm here to help. But I wouldn't get upset about it. That is just something I'm not jealous, and I don't care. I don't care if a woman likes me or a woman doesn't like me. I don't care if the relationship starts and then ends. I don't get upset. Of all the people that I've ever met in the Philippines, of the women that I've dated, you don't see anybody coming on my channel, and every woman I've ever dated knows that I have a YouTube channel. You will never find a woman on YouTube that has said anything negative about me, because when I date them, I treat them well. And when I don't see them any longer, there is no hardship. I don't remember meeting a woman in the Philippines and having a bad breakup. Don't remember one. I remember one that wanted all kinds of money for her family, which I just couldn't afford to give her, and I refused to give her anything other than, normal. I would send her home with a couple of $100 for foods for her family. But when she started asking for 5,000 or 6,000 pesos, I just sent her home with the normal few $100 for her transportation, and I'd bring it to the wet market in ICM, and I'd go shopping, and I'd buy some foods for the family. She was a very nice girl, and she treated me nice, and we went swimming together, and I have videos of her and I snorkeling and at the beach that outside in our backyard. I don't post them, but she was a nice girl. I didn't mind helping her out foods for her family because she didn't work. But I mean, that she got upset a little bit because I didn't want to give her 5,000 pesos one day, and I just thought that was unrealistic. So, but did I get mad at her? She was screaming and yelling, and my landlord was a woman, and she came over, and I said, what is she getting so upset about? Because she was in a, she wanted money, and I wasn't going to give it to her. That's basically what it was. And my landlord just left. She goes, don't worry about it. She just wants money, and she's going to do anything she can to get it. And that's okay, but I didn't get upset about it. I didn't throw her out, but there's no woman that I've ever met in the Philippines that would talk bad about me. So, but I also never talked to another woman behind Daisy's back. And the women here in the Philippines, they'd be the first person to tell Daisy if I talk to them. There's a woman in Tagbilaran that she keeps asking me. She's been asking me for 4 years that she wants to date me. I would never date her because she doesn't interest me at all. But if I dated her just one night, because Daisy, I used to go to the city without Daisy, she would be the first person to tell Daisy. She knew everything about how to get in touch with Daisy, phone number, all that stuff. I would never talk to another woman behind somebody's back. I wouldn't do it, and Daisy didn't do it to me. So that combination that you did, Lyrish, that was something ticked that guy off. No way can I justify what he said, but something ticked them off. So let's move on. Jack Thompson, I think it's part your fault, like 5%, and the other guy is 95%. Jack Thompson says the barnacle pot was found on the Titanic by Michael Fazio with only one breath. That's right, baby. That actually is. That is actually paint. But it looks like barnacles. Are there barnacles on here? No. That's just paint. It's the barnacle beggar pot. The barnacle beggar pot. The barnacle beggar pot. All right, so Jack Thompson, Pinoy Ahoy. Thinking about what you are saying, Mr. Fazio, says Scott Del Fuego. A large portion of the teachings you mentioned are actually against the teachings of Jesus. Well, Jesus said, don't, in the Ten Commandments, supposedly, okay, that was from God, thou shalt not worship false gods. Well, anything could be a false god. Anything could be. The cross of Christ is a false god. So that's, if you go into the philosophical point of view of it, or if you understand the reality of the higher planes of consciousness, that you're going to move into, what, like how it happened with Big E, and also myself, by being alone for a long period of time. In Big E's case, 25 days in the forest with fasting. Okay, well, you're gonna have all kinds of spiritual experiences like that. On myself, I spent, well, it took 3 months and 2 days to get from Michigan to New York with the barge dragon. And then it took 3 months and 2 days by myself to get from New York to Florida. I don't know why it worked out like that, but it did. And when you spend 2 or 3 weeks out on the ocean alone by yourself, you realize that your spiritual awareness changes. Not everybody gets mountain fever like Big E or myself, but you become more spiritual. You start to depend on what's inside your mind. It's something I can't explain to people. It's something Big E can't explain. You can read about it, but you can't explain it to anybody. Let's move on. Chi Corsairs, brothers and sisters, says Chi Corsairs. Good morning. Welcome to the machine, Chi Corsairs. Shout out. Now, Chi Corsairs is somebody that Pinoy Ahoy will give big shout outs to. Big Kevin is here. Welcome to the machine, Big Kevin. If you're still here, I'm so far behind on the comments. Thanks for stopping by, Big Kevin. Thank you very much. Oh boy, let's see if we get back up to where I was. I'm close. Arcelius Corner is here. Lyrish, thank you, much love. Big E, I feel very enlightened now. Okay, so I hit the spot perfect. Jack Thompson, Michael Fazio dove down to the Titanic to relieve that pot. Let's page down. Jack Thompson, I'm still vibrating. That's good, Jack. I could go a lot of places with that, but we won't. I'm still vibrating. Arcelius Corner, good morning, Mr. Fazio. Arcelius Corner, welcome to the machine. Thank you for stopping by. I felt the darkening at edges of the vision through the eyes closed. Pretty cool. Okay. It happens in stages when you're doing a meditation like that. You could get a pot from your cat. Well, yeah, you have a family. I don't have to worry about the oddity looks. And as far as my neighbors are concerned, they don't care. My neighbors, they see me doing stuff all the time. They go, okay, and they all say hello. And aside from what you say or hear, I live in a great neighborhood. So, Chi Corsairs, good morning, Arcelius. Sis Arcelia, Jack Thompson from Arcelia. Good morning, Lyrish. Scott Del Fuego, Jack Thompson. The enlightening bell, says Jack Thompson. So every time we hear the word bell, we're going to ring. Malu, blessed Guru Fazio. I'm feeling ecstatic, Lyrish, early in the morning. How about you, Lyrish? I love the vibes of the bell, says Arcelius Corner. I hope it actually sent a little energy to Darren, because I was visualizing the energy leaving my body. And it was going forward, and forward is actually not in the direction of New York or even the United States. So unless you go around the world from the other direction. So then the energy was moving, flowing out. So I think it helps. And of course, you people can do a prayer as well, like we're going to do for Warren in a few minutes. Let me see what's going on Skype here. Okay, Kevin Cromwell said hello. Hello, Kevin Cromwell. You see the light at the end of the tunnel, boss? That's great. Pinoy Hoy, hello, says Arcelia's Corner. One of the people that were on Big Kevin's show made up stories about Arcelia's Corner that is total lies. There's no truth to it at all. In a video or live stream the man did about a week ago, he made up so much lies